currently making some restaurant tables for a friend of mine in Essex. It's a barbecue restaurant, and people are asking, how did you do that finish? So the finish is a ceruse finish, and basically what a ceruse is you take an open grain wood, ash, oak, elm, good open grain woods, and you do a contrasting color inside the grain. So first we have to kind of get that grain out and pop it. So what I'm doing is taking wire brush, and after you get the tables together like this, I'm gonna hit them with the wire brush and pull out some of that grain. That's the first step. First step, do the top and the edges. Go with the grain, not oppose it, because you'll create cross grain scratches. Nobody wants to see that. It may not look like you did very much, but it's just about digging out that grain. I don't know how close I can get to see, but that darker area, you can see those grains are really kind of pulled out. And we want to put a different color in that grain. After the wire brush, it's time to paint. So I'm going to put 2 coats of black on. First coat I'm going to let dry nice, and then I'll scuff it with 320. I want to have a nice smooth coat for that dry glaze to sit on after the fact. So first coat will raise the grain, I'll let that dry, I'll scuff it down, put a second coat of black on there, let that dry overnight, because it helps with the, it sinks into the grain a little bit when it dries really hard. And then it's easier to get that dry glaze off if it's already cured. Here goes the first coat. See how it goes. With that first coat, you can really see that grain. We're going to fill all that in with red. Now that the first coat is dry, you can kind of see these little specks. You know, all these little tiny specks. That's the hairs I was talking about. They're all kind of raised up. You want to get rid of those. I'm going to be using just some 320 grit sandpaper. I'll be scuffing them now that it's dry, just trying to knock those hairs down so you get a smoother coat. So the next coat will go on real smooth, those hairs will be gone, and I'll let that dry overnight. Now that I got it scuffed down, I'm going to blow it out a little bit, just make sure I don't have any of that dust trapped in the grain. Time for the second coat, and then we'll let that dry. See you tomorrow. Second coat, here we go. uses a dry glaze, and it's alcohol based, so it doesn't fully stick to the solvent based product that I just laid down with the black, but it will get into that grain and hold in there. You'll see how we take off the excess in a moment, but let's put the red on. So the dry glaze will dry within 10 minutes to touch, like this. And then the real work begins. So the glaze I use is an ML Campbell product. It's called Amazing Glaze. That's the dry glaze. It's an alcohol base, dries fairly quickly. You can get it in any colors. I just chose a Benjamin Moore red, and they mixed it up for me. Now it's time to take it off. To do that, I'm using a red scuff pad, and I'm going to time lapse this one because it takes a little while to get it off, and it's all about elbow grease. So as we take this off, it's all more of an artist kind of thing. You can take off as little or as much as you can, and remember, this is the Scotch-Brite will cut through the black, so try not to do too much on the black, and just get the red off. Now that I'm sweating like my ex in church, remember, you're probably going to go through a lot of these because they do gum up with a dry glaze. And if you notice me going cross grain, like I told you not to do everywhere else, it's okay on the dry glaze because you're actually stuffing it, helping it get into that grain. Just make sure that you go with the grain to clean it up after the fact. Now we're ready for the last step, which is the clear coat. Now that we got the majority off, go with the grain and try to make sure we get a nice clean finish. It'll look a little hazy right now, but we'll put a clear coat on it and it will pop back. One thing you have to watch out for is, if you see, I cut through the black right here and it went back down to the ash. All I'm going to do is touch that up with a little paintbrush with the black, and I'll be good to go. So, on to the clear coat. The clear coat I use is also an ML Campbell product. It's called Crystal. It's a conversion varnish. Basically, it's the same type of paint, it's solvent based. It's clear as the black, so it helps meld into each other. Highly chemical resistant, so it's great for restaurant tabletops. So I'll do 2 coats of this, one, and then stop between coats and put another one.